People just got bored with me because when they started gossiping about somebody and I said, well, that's not my experience of her. Interesting that you say that, but I haven't noticed that about her. Then they would feel ashamed for gossiping, and they didn't like that ashamed for gossiping feeling. So some of them would let it go and then rise above, but a lot of them would go away because they didn't like that ashamed feeling that it gave them when I wouldn't play along with the gossip. But then I started telling my weight loss clients, as they entered a program, like, some of your friends are going to change. As your confidence level goes up and you get thin and active and you don't want to sit in front of the TV anymore and you don't want to complain about your weight anymore, your overweight friends are either going to come along for the ride or they're going to be bored with you. So just so you know, as you get more positive and active and healthy, you're probably going to start getting more positive, healthy, active friends. And just know, but I used to warn them, your friends are going to change because as you mature, immature people will either come along for the ride or they'll go to the wayside. So it's a normal, natural thing. But that when you were talking about your misery loves company, and I think that's that can be a learned behavior too, because I've watched mothers teach daughters that kind of over the back fence conversation. But it can also just be an instinct when you're a little kid and you're feeling like you don't fit in, and then you have a problem and then somebody else joins in with your problem. It's a bond, and that's an innocent habit. But also it's an easy habit to get out of. As soon as you become aware of it, you can just cut it out. You've cut it out. We've never shared a misery story, and I've known you for almost 20 years. So it's different. It's different when, that's why I was saying there's everybody has a bad day. There's the habit of misery loves company with gossip and problems. But then there's also people who just enjoy it. So if you change the subject on the gossip and problem part, you can get them off of it. And if you guys just are neutral and don't have anything in common, then you go, that was the only thing we had in common. And that's okay. And that's a friend can go away. But if they keep trying to drag you back into it, and they're wanting to watch your negative emotion. So a shared negative emotion is bonding, and that's normal and natural, and it can easily be changed. What I was talking about is the dangerous people you just need to get out of your life because they love, more than being happy, they love watching somebody else suffer. And you don't want that. But if somebody has misery loves company or gossip, or if you're feeling morose or sad, if you have the maturity to just look at your emotion and go, I don't like having this emotion, I want to change it, then that means you have a conscience and there is hope for you.
So there are people, we've had a lot of clients and students who have maybe a close family member who really does like to cause pain and can say and do terrible things. And that's really tough because it's like their parent or their sibling or, right, it's somebody or maybe their adult child. And so being able to do this just observing thing and letting it roll off you and also setting a boundary where you don't have to spend all the time with them is a really good suggestion for that. But sometimes we can't always leave, right? Depending on our relationship with the person, or maybe we can shift the boundaries so that we can still love them because, they knew us when, maybe it's a really old friend, but we aren't as close to them, or we choose not to share certain things about our lives with them.
Yeah. Anybody anybody who uses information against you to get you to feel a negative feeling, just keep the subject on them. Ask them more about themselves. Stay in the positive. Keep the subject on them. Don't share any personal information, and boundaries. Timestamp. You give yourself an excuse to leave. I used to have to do that with my dad. I would only meet him in public areas and only for like lunch or dinner, so that it wasn't allotted. I would never spend more than 2 hours with him because it did not matter what the conversation. He would pop some negative thing in the middle of a conversation that was perfectly positive, and he would throw something out to make me compete with my sister, or to make me feel bad about my self-image in some way, or to discredit me in some, and they would just pop out. And it was devastating for me until I learned how to have a proper boundary.